Imagine one ruling by a small group of just 9 judges that reshaped American politics forever. Not an election, not a war, not a law passed by Congress, a court case. Today we're unpacking Marbury versus Madison, the decision that gave the Supreme Court ultimate power to strike down laws and forever altered the balance of political power in the United States. In modern America, when someone talks about big political battles, healthcare laws, voting rights, immigration policy, campaign finance, abortion, the Supreme Court often plays a decisive role. That influence starts with Marbury versus Madison in 1803, the case that created the principle of judicial review, the court's power to decide whether laws and actions are constitutional. Here's the context. In the final days of his presidency, John Adams appointed a series of judges to the federal bench. When Thomas Jefferson took office, his Secretary of State, James Madison, refused to deliver some of those appointments. William Marbury, one of the would-be judges, sued to force delivery of his commission. The case went to the Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice John Marshall, a Federalist facing a Democratic-Republican administration. Marshall's ruling did several things at once. First, he agreed Marbury deserved his appointment, but then he made a bold claim. The Supreme Court could not order Madison to deliver it because the law that gave the court that power was itself unconstitutional. In doing so, Marshall declared the Supreme Court the final interpreter of the Constitution. That idea, judicial review, was not explicitly in the Constitution, but Marshall said it was implicit in the system of checks and balances. Before this, the Supreme Court was relatively weak and rarely in the center of political storms. After Marbury, the court became a co-equal branch of government with a real check on the legislative and executive branches. That means political fights aren't just in Congress or the White House, they're in courtrooms too. Battles over civil rights, campaign finance, executive power, and more, all run through the logic of Marbury. Fast forward to today, major rulings on key political issues still hinge on judicial review. From decisions that shape voting laws to rulings about campaign spending and presidential power, we can trace the court's authority back to Marbury. Without this decision, the federal courts would not have the same decisive role in shaping policy and political life. Some argue judicial review protects minority rights and keeps power in check. Others say it puts too much policy power in unelected judges. Either way, it's central to how American politics operates. Every major legal argument about federal or state laws now passes through the framework created by this one decision. So, the next time a political battle ends up in the courts, remember this: it's not just another case. It's part of a tradition that began over 2 centuries ago with Marbury versus Madison, the decision that forever changed American politics.